Prendergast from Como Energy, and that is Gerald Aarons from Como Energy.
Hello.
Welcome. This presentation is on microgrids and islanding, and Gerald will talk about a specific case study that came out of our work with the Yarra Valley Community Power Hub. So there is community demand for microgrids. To meet many objectives, they have a few different roles. So one can be to create a local energy system and to host local generation. Another can be to reduce network charges or bundling demand and procuring energy together, or smoothing out peak energy charges. It could be around being independent from the network or adding resilience, and that has been a big topic in the Yarra Valley Hub to provide continuity of supply through various disasters.
Okay, so the opportunity I wanted to report on is a proposed microgrid in the Chum Creek area on Arthurs Road. There's about 20 residential homes on rural lifestyle blocks on a fairly straight road, but with significant power reliability and resiliency issues. It is a bushfire-prone area. Power outages are fairly common. And the CPHub has been approached as to whether a microgrid might be able to help in resolving those issues. Jonathan, if you could go to the next slide. So on a very simple level, there's obviously the on the main road, and they have a power line into Arthurs Road, and the residences are sitting either side of that main road and that main distribution line that supply left and right of the road, each of those buildings. The next slide, please. So the issue, of course, is that if the AusNet network is down in the area, say due to bushfire, then also these residences will lose power. And that is really what we were looking to resolve, and we've been asked to contemplate whether a microgrid could help. Now, a microgrid can only help if you can actually produce power in a microgrid, because there's no use in a microgrid if it can't be energized in the case of an outage of the main distribution network. So we had to say, well, first of all, we need probably a solar and battery project to provide emergency power to that microgrid. And then the microgrid, and we try to indicate that with the dashed red line, would be effectively new poles and wires to which each of these residences could connect. And that microgrid itself could still be connected to AusNet and normally be grid connected, but could be taken off the main grid if the main grid goes down, so be island capable. The issue with that is, sorry, Jonathan, previous slide still. The issue with that is that building new poles and wires is really cost prohibitive, and we've seen that recently on developing the Yarra microgrid in New South Wales. And in particular, the ongoing responsibility of being effectively a network operator, and be it on a very small scale, is very, very difficult to manage for a community energy group, especially where we're talking about only a few hundred meters of poles and wires. Next slide, please. So this is probably the most interesting project we've worked on with the CPHub, because we had to reconceptualize the problem we were looking at, the solution that was offered to resolve a problem. The problem was not so much, at least not primarily, the integration of solar and battery, as is so common in microgrids. Really, the issue that the community wanted to resolve was resiliency. So what is required for resiliency? You need to have the ability to have a power system going even if the main network goes down. So what we said earlier, we do need a solar and battery project to be developed on Arthurs Road or connected somewhere around Arthurs Road. And we need to have the ability to run this network even if the main distribution network is down. But what we don't need is necessarily new poles and wires. We just need to have the ability to take the existing poles and wires off the grid and run it separately. And what we came up with as a potential solution is that electrical infrastructure is put in place to take Arthurs Road and the distribution infrastructure behind that off the AusNet network in a scenario where resiliency is an issue like bushfires. But it can still be managed by AusNet. That possibly the residents might make a contribution to the cost of implementing that infrastructure in collaboration with AusNet. And where we end up then is there's a solar and battery project, but that's almost secondary. The actual microgrid project has now been recast as an islanding project. So introducing the capacity to island parts of the AusNet network. Jonathan?
So how do we get there? Developing a microgrid project can take a long time, and part of what we believe is that it's important to get the generation and storage assets in there first. It's only possible to do islanding if the islanding part of the network has generation or storage, or else when it's islanded from the network, there's no supply of power. Solar and battery assets are commercially viable today, so can become the first building blocks for future islanding opportunities. And that means you can get an asset built, a new solar and battery power station, whilst also developing the islanding or microgrid opportunity. You have to work with the network in this sort of scenario, and this is very new to them. You know, how will it work? Who has control? Who finances it? Who gets the benefits, and so on. Will take some time to work through all of that regulatory and commercial model. And working in partnership, we reconceptualized the demand for microgrids on this project, and believe that it was a demand for islanding to support resiliency. Any closing comments, Gerald?
No, thank you.
No, thank you all. There are our contact details, and we're always happy to hear from community energy groups. Thank you.
Thank you all.